Hello, my name is Dan Johnson, and welcome back to the Who podcast. This month we have a special guest, and the first special guest of the year. And let's introduce them first. It is Conal from Go Doctor Who. Did I pronounce your
Hello.
name correctly? As I said it, it just came out slightly funny. Did I pronounce it correctly?
No, a lot of people get it wrong, but yeah, it's Conal. So
Conal,
yeah,
yeah. It's spelt how it sounds, I think. Conal.
yeah, a lot of people get it wrong. Call me Conal or Connolly or something like that. It's Conal.
That I mean,
Yeah,
how I thought I said it was wrong, but I mean, how could you mess up like that? But you
yeah.
are a you're a YouTuber. I hate the term. It's a weird term. You're a YouTuber, and you've been for quite a few years now, haven't you? I mean,
Uh,
I want to say about four.
I've been doing my channel since 2018. I did have a mini one in 2016, but it only lasted a week. But I stuck at it from 2018. So yeah.
Oh, so it's actually been a bit longer than I thought it was. I think what I've confused myself with is when I saw you, which I think was in 2020. It, I can't
Yeah, I
remember
think I
exactly
got
when
a
it
lot
was,
more.
but yeah, it's around that time.
Yeah, I think I got more like noticed around 2020 to be fair. So
Mm.
yeah, no worries.
I think for a while our channels were like sort of neck and neck and growing around the same speed. And then I think now you've like completely beaten me.
Oh, I don't know. I'm on 820, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, you've definitely beaten
Uh
me. I'm at 700 and something. So
oh,
you've blown me out of the water there.
what? um, oh dear. Well, I'm sure. I feel like I'm sure we both are. I enjoy your videos quite a lot, to be fair, and
No
I
way.
feel like you're definitely going to hit 1,000. So maybe this is our year. We might both be able to hit 1,000 by the end of the year, hopefully.
Is that kind of the goal for you, as it is me?
I feel like I don't want to be rude to anyone who hasn't got that, but like I feel like you only hit once you hit 1,000 subscribers, you officially made it as a YouTuber. That's always been my goal. That's my like as soon as I hit 1,000, I don't care now. I'm just gonna make it for fun, but it's just like it's the goal I've been since the beginning, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I'm exactly the same. When I started doing it, the first thing that I wanted to, or the goal, the thing that makes you feel like you're actually succeeded is when you get 1,000. Because I think that it's when you get 1,000. I mean, the whole program, like the ad revenue thing, comes into play, but not even that really. That doesn't concern me massively. It's just when people ask you
No,
how many you have, and you go, "I've got over 1,000." Sounds a lot better than saying I've got 712. You know?
yeah, I feel like for me, it's more the fact of if you've got 1,000 subscribers, I feel like it's just easier for people to go, oh, I can take this guy more seriously, maybe just because
Yeah.
oh, this guy's only got this many, he's probably not that good at what he means or whatever. But if you've hit 1,000, he's like, oh, he's got this many, so he must be talking some sense sort of thing. I feel like it just helps you a bit more, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think that it gives you a little bit more credibility, doesn't it, when
Yeah,
that kind of stuff comes into play? Uh,
yeah, definitely.
so yeah. So I think that our relationship, we've kind of known each other since I think 2020, and it sort of series sort of 12 reviews maybe, even a little bit later into the summer. Well, obviously during lockdown. Uh, so I've been watching quite a lot of your content. I think you've been watching mine as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I have.
so then to juggle my questions around a little bit, we will first start talking about your content. So what inspired you to sort of make it in the first place? And where do you get the inspiration for and ideas for your videos?
Um, well, to be fair, and I know it's not going to be that popular at the moment with what's happened on Twitter, but the Hoodits, they really did inspire me. Like, I love their content and I watched them when I was 13 and I just enjoyed everything they had to say. And I just like, one day I want to do something like that, you know? And yeah, I just felt it was like a passion, a hobby. And I had information on Doctor Who. I had in 2005. to 2010. Doctor Who was a big thing. Everyone loved it, and then it just went quiet. I had stuff to say about Doctor Who. So yeah, what better place to be than to create your channel about it? I guess
Yeah.
that
Oh,
inspired me.
that's quite an interesting thing, really, because I thought that the reason that because sort of like when I was younger, there was this crazy thing, this Doctor Who show that felt huge in my brain, and then we reached like 2014 in my mind anyway, and it went really quiet. Um, maybe it was just like the length of series and stuff like that. There was a little bit of exhaustion there, but when we
I
hit
felt
that, go on.
so. I know. Continue. I'll say in a bit.
But when we hit that point, I think I always thought that I linked it with the fact that I was getting older, and it was around, well, I would say around that time, I think it was series 9 when I started doing this kind of stuff. So when we hit series 9, I think I kind of was able to look at it more critically and slightly less with the sort of glaze of like childhood, I suppose, and more into like the actual camera work or the direction and where the story was going. But it's interesting to see that you sort of felt that as well.
Yeah, I just found for me personally, like that era, we had trading cards, we had people talking about Doctor Who every week. And it was like I remember, especially series 4 with the cliffhanger,
Mm.
everyone talking about oh my god, the Daleks have got Sarah Jane, or oh my god, the Doctor's regenerating. And we just played the Ood in playgrounds or the Sidemen coming
Yeah.
after each other. We played that in our breaks, and then around year 6, I would say, football cards came a thing, and everyone was just mainly on that. And Matt Smith was taking over, so it was different. It was a different playground, I guess. And you definitely saw in the merchandise that was dropping, so that was something as well. And then by secondary school, I felt like the only one the only one left who liked Doctor Who. But then the 60th came about. I mean 60th, 50th came about, and everyone joined on for that and then went again. So yeah.
I forget you're slightly older than me, aren't you? Yeah. I think you're
I'm 22.
so I'm nearly 21. So yeah. So I was like the 60th. I was like, I'm pretty sure that when the 50th came out, oh, I've done it as well. When
Yeah.
the 50th came out, I was still in primary school, I'm pretty sure. I think I was about to leave or just started into year 6 or something, year 7 or something like that, maybe. But yeah, that
Yeah.
feels like such a long time ago now because it was full 10 years ago.
Yeah. I think 2000. I was in year 2 to year 5 where Doctor Who was a thing for me. So we just literally, when Doctor Who was on air, we were swapping cards and
Mm.
literally playing the Ood games or Sidemen games and stuff like that. Whereas secondary school, I felt like no one talked about it. And then I think it was year 9 when this 2013 was a thing. And of course, we had the 60th and 60th, damn, 50th. uh, we saw the 60th from the future or something. We're getting middled up. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah,
it's on our
it was a
minds. We're
big
just so
thing,
excited.
definitely. But yeah.
But yeah, because I remember playing Doctor Who in like the playground and stuff like that. And there's gonna be one poor lad that make him always be the same man, and then he used to walk around all whole hour of lunch just like trying to delete you. And he just had to stomp everywhere. And then I remember there was like 7 doctors at one point, and I mean we did multi-doctor stories before it was cool. But yeah, it was a bizarre time. But I remember the cards. I used to buy them quite a lot, and the issue I had was that not many people really wanted to collect them. I think a lot of my school was focused on football and like that kind of stuff, and just playing
Yeah.
football or rugby and stuff. It wasn't about anything other. So I think
Ours was. Oh, sorry.
so that I always had a bit of an issue with kind of being a lad and sort of going into the idea of football and stuff like that. Where nowadays, I know
Yeah.
the offside rule and stuff like that. I understand football. Um, nobody really cares what you like and what you don't like anymore. Uh, but at the time it was huge that I was like this outsider. So I think that probably made me empathize more with the Doctor because he was more of an outsider. But
I totally get that.
so talking about sort of the the past and I suppose being in primary school and stuff like that, you say that uh you were in was it year two when Christopher Eccleston started as the Doctor?
Yes, but I basically I started my first ever episode, and I know this because my granddad used to record them and put them on disc, and he has my first ever episode, which is cool. The Sidemen two-parter with this. I have the first image. I remember I to tell my granddad when the adverts at the start of the episode and the end of the episode were a thing. So I watched that episode and I saw the cliffhanger and the Sidemen coming towards the Doctor, and that has been in my mind ever since. And it's just that was my first episode, so I
from
started a bit later.
from series two.
Yeah,
So I was they're my favorite episodes. Yeah. So okay, that's a very very good story though. I have to say that's something that probably encapsulates me in Doctor Who. But is it,
yeah,
I don't really remember most of it. I think I watched like the beginnings because I remember series two quite distinctively. And I was told
mm,
I watched some of series one. Um, I don't think I watched every episode, but I did watch some of it. But it wasn't until series two that I remember the Satan pit, that guy, the Toby guy with all the marks on
yeah.
his
That
face and stuff like
creeped me
that.
out as a kid, to be fair.
Yeah. So so you didn't watch them sort of live. So when was your so how old were you when you watched that series two episode?
I think it was I was 6 years old. I just turned six because I have the date on the disc somewhere, and it says like I think March, I think February, March. I think I because my birthday's in April, so I think I just turned six. So yeah, but I remember basically after series two and finishing that because it was like I do remember seeing the final live, the Simon the Diets live. So and the trailers and everything
Hmm.
for that. So I remember looking back after series two and watching series one. I was like, this isn't Doctor. This isn't the Doctor I know. And I obviously didn't see the Christmas episode, and it was like, um, so I watched it and I was like, oh, that is Rose. So I carried on watching it into the end, and I just imagined that the Ninth Doctor and the 10th Doctor would just meet and shake hands, and the Ninth Doctor would die or something, and the 10th Doctor would take his name or something like that. But no, when he physically blew up,
Like James
I,
Bond.
I yeah, I
They kind of
just
switch
physically
hunters.
thought I don't. I had that. I know I was 6 years old, but I still remember that idea of just. I just thought, oh, they must be like that. And when they physically blew up, my mind was like, what? And then 30 seconds later, I was just like, okay, that's how it happens. And carried on.
Oh, that's really interesting because you've got memories of you first like proper regeneration.
Yeah.
Like because to me, my first regeneration, I would always say, would probably be David Tennant because
Yeah.
I don't remember Eccleston regenerating at all. But that's really fascinating. That because really you started at the same time as me because
Mm,
2006 would have been series two. And I distinctly remember the end of series two and the whole Rose thing. Um,
mm,
like I remember talking to Will about it, who couldn't make today's podcast, but we went to school together in primary school and secondary school, so that meant that we were kind of like the only two people that really liked Doctor Who or that liked it over other things. Um,
yeah, that's good. At least
so
you two together, sort of thing.
yeah, and so that meant that I distinctly remember that. So really, we started at the same time, you and me, with watching Doctor Who, but you were just that little bit older that you were able to sort of look back on other stuff. You were almost conscious to the idea of television a little bit more. That you were able to look back and also be able to to remember watching the series.
Yeah, I don't know how I remember it because I don't remember most stuff, but I guess Doctor Who has that massive impact on me that I do remember it, and I also remember one thing in particular. When TV was a thing and it wasn't just all online. I remember I don't know, Channel 4 or Red Button. And I remember the what's it, the Voyage of the Damned episode on repeat as a trailer on all day until that channel started opening or whatever. I just remember the Voyage of the Damned being on a loop when I was a kid as well. So that was interesting as well
Oh,
that I remember that for some reason.
yeah, I've never heard of that before. That yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. That's weird. Um, so we've talked a little bit about your sort of history with the show. Um,
Mm.
here's the question that I prepared you for earlier because I understand it's quite a big question to spring on somebody. But what is your favorite Doctor Who moment?
Yes, you gave me this last night, and I just thought of three, but I'll come down to one. I was gonna say I was gonna cheat and go that trailer for series four. I just remember that being a hype thing. But I think the moment has got to be the Cyberman coming towards the Doctor. That is my moment. That was my first episode. It's just that moment
The
that what I
cliffhanger.
guess hooked me.
Yeah, the
Yeah, it just
cliffhanger to Rise of the
hooked
Flamer.
me.
Yeah, that's good. So that's what I think mine would probably be around that episode or those two episodes as well. To be fair, I have to say. Uh, so is it just because you feel like that made you a Doctor Who man, Doctor Who fan, Doctor Who man, made you a Doctor Who fan? So that's why you kind of have to be
Yeah,
thankful to it, I guess.
I just think that episode just hooked me, and it was
Mm,
like, oh my god, I want to know what next. When is it?
yeah,
Sort of thing. But obviously, I don't remember much else, but I remember that definitely, and that just in the back of my mind. And I just think, yeah, that is the moment I became a fan. I think no other Doctor could have maybe pulled me in as much as that, or no, nothing like that. And that's, I guess, why I
mm.
love series two. I guess. Yeah.
It's quite an interesting episode those two because I think it's very the scale of it is huge. And I find it quite hard to sort of define because it's like my favorite episode, what I like about it. Maybe I should try and do it at some point. But I do find it interesting that like as a story, it's it's quite grown up for a kids show. It's quite devastating, you know. It's this huge, I mean, huge invasion, really. It sees people, dying, and there's this sort of lovely little idea that they do because of the whole parallel stuff. They could kill Jackie effectively without killing Jackie, and things like that. That I think that make the episode work so well. And it's something that I don't think they've been really able to recapture for me
Yeah, it's
personally.
just because
That the feeling of it.
yeah, it's just because it's parallel. You can do anything with this universe. It's like a different sandbox to the Doctor Who, and
Mm.
it's like you can build up whatever you want and then knock it down straight after to go on to something completely different. It's like, yeah, it's really cool, and yeah, I wish they did more parallel universe stories.
Well, I think that I personally I love episodes that are sort of willing to not play it safe and to do slightly more dangerous things like that. But I love grounded episodes, ones that normally take place on Earth, tend to be invasion stories and have villains that well, I was gonna say that like sort of have this great plan, but the Simon's plan isn't particularly special. It's just I think that they work so well and are so creepy that the story itself just has takes on this new life. I think obviously it has happened like a few times, but I think for me personally, I haven't been able to really connect to those sort of different. What was it going? For me personally, I haven't been able to connect to some of those sort of crazier stories, like Storm on Earth. I think is probably a good example of this huge invasion. Um, but on a slightly more emotional level, I think that certain aspects of that story don't quite sync because of how huge it is. Um,
Yeah,
but it's I like that's why I find it quite hard to talk about my favorite episode because it's quite hard to define the stuff you like about it when it's evident in other episodes.
well, my favorite episode isn't actually that episode, but that's my favorite moment. My favorite episode is actually the end of time part two. I actually skip one. I always go to two, and
Yeah,
I just love
two
it.
two's much better.
Yeah.
But that yeah, End of Time Part Two is very good. To be fair, it is a very good story. What is it
Mm.
like
I
countdown?
just love it.
Yeah. Oh, it is so good. I think the whole emotional weight of it is massive, and the significance of it is great. Um, I would say that it lacks in a few areas. Um, for me personally, there's a few things that I feel are a bit
Yeah.
indulgent or slightly
Um,
underwhelming, but overall, I think the whole end of time works incredibly well. The trouble is, of course, part one, like you say, you just skip it. Like, there's so much
yeah.
like there's a lot of weird stuff in part one, but part two is really really good. I think my
Yeah.
favorite
I just. Oh, Karen, sorry.
my favorite part of part one is the bit well it's really quite awful. Is there's this bit where the doctor just starts like walking up to the master and he's like just shooting him and he's like what, like 10 feet away, 100 meters maybe. And he just but blasting him with his hands, and each shot is missing, and he's just walking up anyway. And explosions go off in the background. You're like, what is happening here?
Just leads to like a burning on his like clothes, and,
Yeah.
and that's
What was your plan here? Just walk in and get killed? Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, but it is a very, very good story. Before we move on to things outside of Doctor Who, let's kind of do a sort of transition between the two. And how do you think Doctor Who has affected your life?
Um, on a personal level, I guess it's more the fact that I I started seeing my dad at the age of 8. So before that, Doctor Who was that role model, that male figure. So
All right.
that was a thing. So and then something else is I used to be fostered. So that was although the show's everything about change, that was the only consistent thing I had that was completely not alien or different to me. So that was a thing that I guess I latch onto is that was the past of me that I enjoy. I think Doctor Who was definitely something that kept me going and sanity, I guess. The only thing that was definitely different and changing, but it was definitely the same thing that stayed the same for me, I guess. Massively.
That that is quite beautiful, isn't it, really? Yeah, it was the I love the role model idea. I mean, your role
Yeah.
model in the Doctor is a little bit of, a genocidal maniac at times. But, you know, each to their own. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I think that's inter quite interesting, quite personal to you. So,
It's a bit
thanks for
deep,
sharing that.
but it's like it's a bit deep, but it's like that is literally it. I think it's always been there for me, and I guess it will always be there, even if the show does end. I guess I can start a new end and just look at the classic era a lot more or something like that. But it's just like I feel like it's just always been there, no matter what shape or form it's been, and it's an escape that everyone goes to. It's escapism that it just helps, you know. So
Mm.
yeah, I think
It's
it's massively played a part in my life.
thing that I think always gives it sort of the longevity that it has had is that it can always sort of change, and in many respects, it changes with you. So, the Matt Smith
Yeah.
Doctor was very much a doctor that appealed to me at the time because I was kind of
Mm.
like the right age for it. And then sort of I think I was probably slightly out for Capaldi, but as I've got older, I've begun to appreciate him more. And I think Jodie's probably more of a step back. She's probably younger rather than older. Uh,
I think yeah.
so
I think for me it's been more in sync, to be fair, because I feel like when I did get put into foster care, David Tennant was changing to Matt Smith, so that was a separate part of my life. And Matt Smith was ending. I think I was going into I was in secondary school, and then when Peter Capaldi was ending, I was going into college, primary school era. So I had Jodie Whittaker for my college and college life, and just into adulthood, where I've now got a job. I guess David Tennant's back at me being an adult again. So yeah, I feel like it's different chapters. Each Doctor's kind of changed with me.
oh yeah, definitely.
Funny you say that.
Yeah, I always feel like a lot of the Capaldi era has been my secondary school time. Um,
Mm.
because like David Tennant and Matt Smith are probably my favorite doctors because outside of probably Paul McGann and stuff like that is because I think that at the time they were like the right doctor for me at my age. And then sort of secondary school was like a weird time. I didn't really like secondary school. And because the doctor was so different, I didn't appreciate that because it didn't suit my mood at the time. But now I go back to it and I'm like, I think some of Capaldi's episodes are absolutely brilliant. And then sort
Yeah.
of as he regenerated, I went into sixth form, I think. Uh, so it meant that, we did sixth form up to now in COVID and everything with Jodie as the doctor. And now that I hate to say the word, but because I might jinx it, but now that we're on the way out of the whole COVID stuff, I mean, there's also there's a lot of stuff underneath that needs to be addressed and
Yeah.
sorted out. Uh, but now that we're sort of heading out of that, it feels like we're onto a whole new sort of landscape. So I love that idea actually. It's always adapting, isn't it? Which is brilliant.
Yeah, it's always trying to keep with the times or change, and it's definitely all just unique. Like, what show can literally have every character ever change? Like the companion, the
Mm.
main character, the doctor, sort of thing. Just the TARDIS, everything is same but different. Not as quite as you know it, but evolving, and it's life. It's what we all do. We all change. I think, yeah, it's brilliant, and I think that's what I think a lot of people. I think someone said to me, I don't speak to a lot of Americans, but I'm pretty sure one American said to me, "Oh yeah, you British people, you have shows like, I don't know, Coronation Street or James Bond or Doctor Who, and they seem to stick, whereas our American shows don't last as long as you guys do." I think, I don't know, that's something as well. I think pulls into it
Ooh.
as well. That Britishness.
Oh yeah, because Russell T Davis keeps talking about the whole British institution of Doctor Who and stuff like that, doesn't he as well? But even if I look at my shelf now, and I can't see a lot of it, but I'm seeing like almost different eras of Big Finish within it. And each one has their own sort of character to it, or you know, each series is so unique that like people sometimes ask me quite often if I get bored of Doctor Who, but I don't really. Because I mean, sometimes I don't watch it, every single day. Uh, Sometimes I'll go with a few days without watching anything or anything like that. Um, but I do find it interesting when, like, for example, last night I started watching The Web Planet, which is a Hartnell story,
Oh,
and I've sort of enjoyed watching Hartnell late at night because his stories are sort of slower pace and stuff like that. But if I want to be sort of excited, or do you know when you get that kind of moment of like thrill, like when you get thrilled and you really feel there with the characters and stuff like that, I go for a Matt Smith episode, a David Tennant episode, or something like that. But
yeah,
it's
that
like
is big.
somebody said recently actually about how like if you want to feel clever, you go with Stephen Moffat. If you want to feel sort of emotionally vulnerable, then you go with like Russell T Davis. And I thought that that's a good way of summing them up. If you want to hate something, you go with Chibnall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of true. Oh, dear.
yeah. I don't know. I do revisit quite a bit of Jodie. To be fair, I wouldn't say I go to her very often, because I don't love many, like, all of her episodes. But Demons of the Punjab and I sort of like Kabam and stuff like that. So yeah, occasionally I'll revisit those episodes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I guess David Tennant was always my favorite Doctor, but then Pete Capaldi came around. He became my favorite, and now I feel guilty because I've ditched Peter Capaldi. I've gone back to David again.
I know.
But
No,
yeah,
yeah, I'd have to say David is always going to be my favorite.
yeah,
I can't help but feel that, especially at the time and everything like that. There's no way of changing such. He's my doctor. People say that they take ownership over one version. Although I'd say that my sort of the one that I'm quite fond of is probably the Eighth Doctor.
yeah. He is really good. To be fair, I haven't listened to any of his Big Finish, but I love the mini-sode, and I've obviously met him, and he's very passionate about the show. I don't think he watches it that much, but I think he's very passionate. I just love.
Oh yeah, I think he's the fact that he started off as just sort of like the one-off Doctor, the bit of the sort of the thing you don't really talk about, and now he's become such a fan favorite, purely through audios and through people meeting him. I mean, audios are quite a difficult media to sort of branch out to, I think. Um, Nowadays anyway, with like attention spans and as they are. So I think that he's done exceptionally well. Uh, so we've talked a little bit about your relationship with Doctor Who, but let's just branch out a little bit further for a little while and talk about things outside of the world of Doctor Who. And the first question I'd like to ask you is, what are you watching right now, or what has been your latest obsession? If you can't remember your latest, of course, feel free to just sort of spout some of the ones you've had recently.
Um, I guess I'm watching right now. It's different. Is I'm trying to watch and get into because I've never seen Charmed, so I'm trying to watch that. I'm on episode 7, I think, of series 1. So I'm watching that right now. It's interesting, but it's also definitely the early 2000s vibe sort of thing.
Yeah,
And I've yeah,
I'd love to try and watch like Buffy or something like that
that's my
because
next one.
a lot of Doctor Who took a lot of RTD Doctor Who took inspiration from Buffy, I think. So I think that would be an interesting thing to watch. But there is a lot of it, which really does put me off.
Yeah, I basically bought. It's because I got TikTok and I got Geeks as Hevel and I review stuff.
Hmm.
I've decided to review certain shows and movies, and I've reviewed all the Chucky. Now I'm on to something different. I think I was going to do Charmed, and then I was going to go on to Buffy and Angel. Then I was going to try and watch Game of Thrones, and they're the shows I haven't seen yet, which is obviously a big thing and I should have watched. But so they're the things I'm trying to get into now.
Hmm. I've seen Game of Thrones twice, all
Oh,
right through, yeah, because I'm an idiot.
it's long.
But it is quite long, to be fair. It really is. But when I watched it the first time, so me and my dad, but we knew that the final season was coming. So what we did was we had to buy DVDs as cheaply as we could. So we started off, we got series one for like £3 or something like that. And then series two, we ended up like paying maybe 10. And then as we got higher, they became more expensive. So it became
Oh dear.
but we had plenty of time to watch them all. And then we got to
Yeah.
series seven. Well, I got to series seven just as the new series begun. And then
Oh,
maybe a week before the finale, I purchased Now TV so we could watch all of Game of Thrones, like the last episodes of the last
yeah.
season, just to finish it off. So, but the trouble was watching it like that was that we waited months in between each season. Um,
Yeah.
so it always was slightly underwhelming when you finish one and then you go, oh, when are we going to buy the next one? I don't know, a couple of months, and I wouldn't watch them sort of every night. I sort of savored them a little bit, um, which I think was probably
Yeah.
the best way to watch them. To be fair,
I think I'm struggling with watching them is because I guess with uh slightly with Doctor Who, I just know it, so I can bring it. With these characters and these shows that I haven't watched before, and basically watching them and then going straight to review them, so they're in my head. It's you're just a noob to that universe, and it's just like you've got to try and remember certain things. So it's like it's definitely harder when you're reviewing them. So I feel like I'm watching them and having to review them, whereas I'm not actually relaxing and watching them, which is not good, I guess.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, I used to do that with a lot of stuff, and I kind of stopped doing it because I realized that I wasn't getting much enjoyment from the shows. It just felt like every time you watch something, that you got the reward of watching it, and then it was quick, get the camera out, get Premiere Pro out. We'll start editing
it's a
it up.
task.
Yeah, and then oh yeah, because of course the whole like rat race went like I love it when Doctor Who airs, but the issue is when it airs, there's the rat race of getting the episode like the video out as quickly as you can.
Oh yeah,
And I
I,
hate
I've
that.
I've set up everything and then watch the episode, go straight to setup, do it, upload, let's go.
I kind of well the last time that when Flux was on, I couldn't really do it because of my sort of work. I kind of finished at like 6:30, 7ish, and it meant that I couldn't physically get home, watch the episode and all that, and then so the reviews would always come out as I sort of was watching it. which meant that I'd always try and get it out by like 1 o'clock of the morning after, like the morning of like the Sunday on the Monday, about 1 o'clock the next morning. Was always the goal to get it out, and I think I failed it like twice because of a technical issue with the audio not syncing or something like that. But that kind of, I do find that kind of stuff quite stressful.
Yeah, it is. But you've just, I don't know. I don't know. It's like it's glad it's out of the way, but also it's like it is got that enjoyment out of it because you got to enjoy it to keep doing it, sort of thing.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like nowadays, like when it's finished, I'm sort of like, ah, that was a good review. I was happy with that review. And sometimes I think with one of the series, I think it was series 11, maybe, my opinion of the episode changed the more I was exposed to it. Like the more that people started talking to me about the issues with episodes. So then, like most of my reviews for series 11, I'm not very happy with because they don't represent my opinion anymore. But with series 13, I think each episode remains the same. Maybe apart from the Vanquishers, because I was a little bit happy that we had a resolution. But now I think about it, the resolution was not
yeah, you
as
do
as
get
as, as cool
blinded
as I thought it
by
would be.
it. Yeah, you do get like blinded by your first time viewing. You're like, oh, it was so good and stuff. And then after a while or a couple rewatches, you go, maybe I was relying on hype a bit too much with that, maybe. But yeah, I totally get what you mean, to be fair.
Yeah. So that's sort of, you try and separate yourself from it a little bit, I suppose, because you're kind of you're watching it in that state. But
I'm about to what? Sorry.
no, I wasn't. I finished.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, because we're talking about different shows and stuff, I'm about to watch for the first time. I'm a bit late to the party on this. I'm about to watch, because I just bought it on DVD, Black Adam. I'm going to watch that and then review that. But I
Oh
think
yeah,
movies are a lot easier to review because you can just watch all that and then go, whereas series, you've got to continue that for a long period of time.
mm.
So I think I enjoy that.
You obviously you could just do it as a season, but nowadays seasons don't mean seasons. And I think like when I watched Flux, that a lot of what I said was going, oh, it might be answered in the next episode. It might be answered in the next episode, and then it might be answered in the New Year special, and then maybe Power of the Doctor will sort it. And I kind of went through this loop constantly of going, I found this a problem, but the problem isn't solved, but it may have been intentional. Uh, so
Yeah, it's like
it was a weird thing. It was like
uh,
it's weird ground in it to cover.
I think the problem with Chris Chibnall is he left it like open ended in a way. Like it didn't feel result because like I thought, oh, Yaz and 13, they've decided on that beach that that's it. But you think, okay, that's it. But obviously something's gonna. Oh no, nothing happened. Okay, the fob watch. Oh yeah, it's obviously been left for another time. But
Oh yeah,
surely they're gonna get back. But oh no, that was it. It's like
yeah,
oh,
totally.
it's just like you feel like there's going to be a repercussion. There's going to something's going to happen, but actually, no, that was it. That was the bookend. We didn't realize.
Mm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think because a lot of people said that they hated it when it came out, that fob watch scene, the end of Flux. But I wasn't too disappointed. I actually quite liked it because it means that you don't need to deal with the strain of it, even though of course they should have done, because like that's it feels like the perfect point to do it. You've got 6 episodes. You could easily start talking about the fob watch, the Doctor's memories, do a story on that. That would make a perfect story, but now you have to include other elements. Um, but when she put the fob watch down, I too went, "Oh, it's no, she'll pick it up. Power of the Doctor, she'll pick it up because something will happen that will cause her to either have to use her memories in order to save the day, so she'll have to confront them, or somebody will take it from her and make and force her to confront them." Um, but
yeah. I remember in the trailers, literally, we saw her going yes, and she was in this like basically glass thing, and it was actually the Master swapping bodies. But I remember in the trailers, everyone was like, "Oh, she's opening the fob watch. She's gonna be."
yeah,
But no,
because the energy was the same energy that Joe had round her when she opened
Yeah.
hers, or opened the break the fire alarm. I think it was that she broke a fire alarm, didn't she? It just
Broke.
occurred to me. She
Yeah.
smashed the glass of a fire alarm, and the glass like hit her.
What if like there was actual fire there, and someone just smashes it? It's like would it be like the boy who had that
Yeah,
fob watch and just get little memories or what?
maybe. I don't know. That sounds like an interesting idea. To be fair, so Tyler was so careless about leaving their identities around the place that, that people just keep stumbling across them. Are there any other obsessions that you have at the minute that you would like, or ones that you'd like to share for programs that you've watched? Because
Obsessions one.
yeah, because I know you've got that huge repertoire of DVDs and stuff like that. That I think it would be interesting, because I've seen like you've got all of Merlin. I've got all of Merlin, but on like volumes, and you've got like, Being Human and stuff like that. And you've got an entire section of your shelf dedicated to box sets, be big series or film series, for example. So I when I wrote that question, I thought, oh, you'll have a lot to say on that one.
Yeah, I think after Doctor Who comes Marvel, but I started late in the game in that one, to be fair. My first Marvel episode movie was actually the Avengers. Like I
I think
didn't
mine
watch
was
any of them, so
as
I
well.
watched the Avengers, then went back. So yeah, I think it's been Marvel, Batman, but also yes, Merlin, Being Human. I watched them as a kid. I know you weren't meant to probably watch Being Human as a kid, but I did.
No,
I watched that. Um, I also watched. It's better to just go over. I'm gonna have a quick look
he's getting up
just
and he's
to
going over.
help my memory. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I watched, which I was late to the game on as well, was I started in series 4 of Gotham. Love that.
Oh yeah, loved
Um,
Gotham.
yeah, Star Wars. I watched. It's a mishmash. Obviously, like you said, memories and stuff. But I watched the classics and the new ones, and I don't know what order I watched them in. It was a mishmash. I love Star Wars stuff, the original, the prequels.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm really bad at this. I just realised looking Harry Potter, but my first Harry Potter, I don't know. I only watched one. I didn't know which one it was, but then I watched the eighth one, the last one, then went back and watched them all again. I'm really bad at this. I just realised.
But hang on, sorry, you watched Harry Potter 8, and then you went to the start again.
Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't watch seven, to be honest, because I didn't. That's the only one I don't like. So I
Yeah,
reckon that would
seven's not
stop me from
great.
watching all of
I don't. Well,
them.
I like seven in the respect that it's like a slower pace before the big finale. But
Yeah.
I yeah, I was never really a fan of some of the scenes in that one.
But
Uh,
yeah, I basically watched the number eight, and I was like, oh, this was actually really good. I'm gonna understand all this now and go back and watch it all. I'm a bit late to it, but yeah. Just looking around on my shelf here. I do on a different aspect. I like In Betweeners and Friday Night Dinners, Rick and Morty, Gavin Stacey, stuff like that.
oh, so you're
James
a big
Bond.
fan of British comedy then?
Yeah, I do like that. I think my comedies as well is Ricky Gervais, Lee Evans, and Russell Howard. They're my three
Hmm.
comedy. Yes,
Yeah,
Transformers.
it was, oh god, I've not. I have 4 Transformers films. I watched one of them. I got 30 minutes into the second one. I went, why does anyone watch this? Like, why would anyone watch
Oh,
these?
oh dear. It's gone into complete. It's like the DC universe at the moment. It's a bit messy, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, because
uh,
aren't they bringing him back this year from the guy from Hamilton, and he's like there's like a gorilla one and stuff like that.
yeah, the trailer didn't get me hyped. A lot of people got hyped by that trailer, but yeah, I watched one and two. I watched number two first. Went back, watched one. I enjoyed one and two. Three, I like, but four, five, bit bad, really bad. I think the latest Transformers has really put me off. But
Is that?
Bumblebee was brilliant.
Oh no, that's yeah. I think the last one I watched was Age of Extinction, um,
I'm gonna have to
which was just all
both.
right. It was all right. It wasn't as bad as I thought it could have been. Would be the best way to describe it. But I know I
Um, Last night really put me off. It's the latest one
no
that
yeah.
was really bad.
Yeah, I haven't bothered
Um,
watching that one.
oh, I just thought of something that I was very definitely late to the game. So I just saw John Sim at a Comic Con, and I was like, I get when I meet a celebrity, I get re-hyped. Same with
Mm.
Chris Facks when I watched The A Word, but with um John Sim, I watched, and then I was like Life on Mars. So I watched Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes. Really loved that. That was really good. I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah.
I haven't watched Ashes to Ashes, but it's one of those things where I sort of know the ending
Oh.
because I know my mum. There's a big twist ending, right? And I know that my mum watched it, and I don't know why this stuck in my head, but I think I was so I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep very much as a kid, which is why I used to like come through to the living room, and I distinctly remember seeing the guy that's in the Rebel Flesh two-parter,
Yeah, him.
like through a television. Like he came through a
Yeah.
television. I was like, wait, what? And then my mum told, I don't, have you finished it? I presume you have.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
No,
finished it all. I watched it twice, I think.
yeah, I think that's the final series. Is this kind of like he comes through the television at one point, and then obviously there's the big twist at the end. Which I'm going to say the twist, but we should move immediately on from it. Is that they're all sort of they're dead coppers that
Yeah.
are then sort of in like a weird heaven sort of hell scenario or purgatory.
Yeah, it's like if you die or you basically are in an accident and you're waking up from a coma or something. It's like your body slows down. You get sent to this universe in a way, and it's basically as your body. I don't know. If you die, then you've got this amount of time in this universe. But if you're in a coma and you're going to wake up, you're basically in this universe till you wake up, sort of thing. And time's very slow. So I remember the bullet going into this woman in Ashes to Ashes basically slowly going through her, and it's been like a good couple episodes, and the bullets, oh, it's just here or something like that. It's very odd. It's very dark, but interesting
Mm.
in a way.
Yeah, it's something that I probably should watch, but haven't watched yet because I feel like if it's weighted too much on this like mystery of what's happening, then I don't think it would work for me. Let's move into the real world properly, shall we? But delve a little bit back into a nerdy nature, and that is I want to talk about Comic Cons with you because you've been to quite a few now, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I started in 2017. I went to my city's Comic Con. It was so small, and then 2018 I went straight into the deep end and went to London Comic Con, and I've been going ever since. I guess so. It's 5 years now. I've been going.
So, with these Comic Cons, what made you sort of want to go, and who are the sort of the coolest people that you've met while there? Because I've never
So
been to one. I haven't been even been to a little one at this point. I hope to, this summer, but or maybe into winter now. But I hope to.
basically, you've got to put money out of your mind when you go to these things. So basically, Comic Con is a con. It's in the name, but it feels like Christmas. It generally is like there's only twice I've had a bad experience, I find, but majority of the time, all the people I've met are really lovely and brilliant. And it's not just that. When you're waiting in the queues, there's people basically will talk to you. But recently, as well, since I've been doing TikTok, I think I'm like 5,000 now, so I'm starting getting noticed there, and obviously
Wow.
going to a geeky event.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah,
That must be quite surreal.
people are recognizing you as well. So that's the thing. And asking me for advice. This woman, I went to Comic Con in December. She asked me for advice. I've seen all your videos. What advice would you give to how to ask them for a photo and stuff like that? I said, well, if you want interaction, go for an autograph. If you want a photo, Basically just say what you want in the photo really quickly. They can either say yes or no, but the majority of the time will just do whatever you want in the photo, to be fair. So yeah, I have I think coolest people. I know it's cliche, but I think my favorite people I've met is David Tennant, John Sim. I think they're just down to earth, brilliant people.
Yeah.
Non Doctor Who, I'm gonna say the guy. I think it's Aidan Turner from Being a Human. He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
really lovely,
I
really
bet he would
cool.
be. Yeah. He's so lovely. He sounds lovely.
Um,
And then he bites your neck.
yeah, like they do. It's the people that will answer your question really quickly. Fair enough. You had what you got out your money and sort of thing. You had any interaction, but the people that go out their way even longer and just basically don't rush you like the
Mm.
people want you to rush to get through everyone. They just take their time and actually have a chat with you, and you have like a minute or two just with them fully, and they're just engrossed in your conversation. That's the more best interactions you get, I
The,
think.
the,
Yeah.
I saw an interesting one recent. Well, this was quite a while ago now, but Joseph Quinn, who's from Stranger Things, who you've probably heard about him because he's been everywhere. He's been huge.
He's mobbed Comic
Yeah,
Cons.
he's mobbed. Yeah, so they oversold the tickets massively, made these humongous queues to get to him. But he still continued to stay there and talk to every single person, and he stayed late to help to make sure everyone was seen because he was super grateful for them to come out. And I was like, that is beautiful, and the way that you're able to connect sort of real life and the life that like the celebrity life, I think is quite cool. But for you and me personally, I think the idea that you can go there and you go, I recognize you, I've seen you before, is quite cool.
Yeah. It's like it's also not just the celebrity aspect as well. It's like yeah, it's the YouTuber aspect. It's like, oh my god, that's the YouTuber I like. I'll go over it and ask them for photo and stuff. I've done all that. But now it's starting to get a bit noticed my end with the TikTok aspect. And it's like people come up to you and they said, oh, you're always on my For You page and I enjoy your video. And I was like, oh, thank you. I've had a photo. Someone asked me for a photo and uh, I was like, oh yeah, cool. And I did that, and I was like, oh my god, someone wanted to photo me, and
Mm.
this little kid come up to me, asked for my autograph. I froze and actually gave my proper autograph. So please have no access to my bank account. But it's like it's mind blowing that aspect. So I no doubt you will get noticed if you went to one. Like someone, at least one person would surely notice you. I think as well.
It sounds really vain, but I didn't mean it to sound vain. To be fair, I've been recognised before. It was bizarre, really, because I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but where I live, I went to the B&M around here, uh, with my dad. Went in by myself and went to go and see if there's any figures, and there's a guy there, sort of like looking at them as well, and I sort of had a conversation with him for a little while. We had a lovely little conversation about like collection box sets and stuff, and I said this was quite a while ago that I was missing one of the sets, and he was like, "Oh, that's you're missing." I think it was like uh, the one that I took a while for me to get, season 18, maybe season 10, in fact, and it was the only one I was missing. And then he messaged me on my account later, going, "Hi Dan, we met in B&M earlier. I thought I recognised your face from somewhere, but couldn't work it out at the time." And I was like, "Oh, that's quite surreal." It was quite scary, really, because I like to keep them sort of quite separate. And over the years, I think that line has blurred slightly. And now a lot of the people I went to school with know about like my TikTok. If my, it's quite bizarre. Like when
I think you get
you see people that you know and you go, I went to school with you and you just liked my TikTok kind of thing.
Yeah, it is a bit odd to be fair. Like, it's I like to imagine them as a number. To be fair, I know it's like it's crazy. It's like I like to imagine them just a number, so it makes me feel easy to do the videos. But when people come up to you, it's like, oh crap, these are actually real people.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it is mind blowing. To be fair, yeah, and I've had the aspect of people notice you as well, but it's like I think it's more of a I've had it as a more of a tease, like, oh, you're the guy you make TikToks and stuff like that. I was like, yeah. But then they see I don't know if they see the number and they go, oh, that's actually pretty good to be fair. So I guess like Yeah,
It's
but
very similar to what we were talking about earlier with the whole like 5,000 subscribers thing, weren't we?
mm,
Because
definitely.
I didn't realize you had 5,000. I knew you had somewhere in thousands, but I didn't realize it was five. But that's
Yeah,
many, many, many. I do hope this is me being quite pretentious here, really. But I do hope that because you see people that sort of become this sort of influencer idea, and I wouldn't say that I would do it ever for like full time or as a job, but as a hobby, the idea that I could be invited to a premiere of like a Doctor Who episode would be bonkers. Like, wouldn't you agree?
yeah. I think it would, to be fair. Like,
I hope that
um,
that kind of that over it sort of existed a little bit with Power of the Doctor, where a few people went to Power of the Doctor as fans, and I was like, that's quite cool. But surely with Russell T Davis and the Disney money going in, they'll be like, why don't we hold a big event thing and we'll have cosplayers and all types of stuff like that? And I was like, okay, I really hope they do that because I've seen quite a
mm,
few people go to them now, and I'm sitting there just going, I really wish like we had that kind of stuff as well. Because then you
yeah,
could even then, so you can just say because it's quite a solitary thing where I'm like, oh, I just did some editing and all that. But then if you're standing there and you've got like 60 other people that are doing the same thing in the same room as you, and then you get to meet Shooty or Russell T Davis at the end of it, you see that I think it feels like it's a bit more tangible. But I mean,
yeah. I
what an
mean,
experience it would be.
yeah. So, I've had this. I'm not going to name any names or give any details, but basically, I made a video of me meeting Dave Tennant, and this person contacted me on Instagram. We started talking, and I have him on Snapchat, and he's gonna be big. He's doing roles and acting and stuff. And basically, he was asking me stuff about how he met Dave Tennant stuff. Then we met up at Comic Con a few times, and now he's working with Shooty Gatwa. He's already worked on some stuff from Sex Ed, and I can't say anything else. But he's got some other big lines up, and it's just crazy to think that basically, if I didn't do this YouTube channel or whatever, I would never be friends with this person
Mm.
who's doing really cool stuff and giving me details that I'm not allowed to say. But it's like it's really cool, to be fair, and it's like these bingos lead us to me and you talking. You know,
Yeah.
I think I'd just be watching your videos, but we're talking, and I enjoy your content. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful for the fact that nowadays I'm able to say, to like, because I went through the guests if I wanted this year, and we agreed on who we would have um, back in December. And when I did that, I went, actually, the idea that I can just contact people that live around the UK and possibly even the world and ask them if they want to be on my podcast is so exciting. It opens so many doors of opportunity that I think that previous generations just didn't have because fandom wasn't quite there yet. Now it's sort of
Yeah.
open and welcomed and stuff like that. So my sort of final thing that I'd like to bring up towards you concerning Comic Cons is I'd like to talk a little bit about cosplay. So do you want to just outline some of the cosplays you do first?
So basically, I did shun against it at the beginning. I was a bit more like, "Oh, this is cool. People are wearing that," but I'd never do it. And then the I just filmed TikToks in lockdown because I was bored. I just did me and my normal top and whatever. But then recently, through David Tennant getting his suit, I Spider-Man No Home. I bought a Spider-Man suit and I did a few Spider-Man videos, but I wasn't that into it as much as now I am with Doctor Who. Basically, when David Tennant's new suit come about, I was like, I want to own that.
Oh yeah.
And I looked everywhere. I couldn't get it. I was like, so next best thing, I'm getting my favorite David Tennant suit. So I bought that. I got it all off Amazon, which was decent apart from the shoes, and it cost me about 300, I think, which is kind of good for the suit price, I
Yeah,
guess.
it that does seem like a lot because well it is, but in terms of like cosplay stuff, that's not, is it?
Yeah,
It's a
it's
whole
not.
different world that I'm not entering because I know how expensive it all is.
Yeah, like I limit myself because like there's the Who Chase, I think, is it, or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
The Purple Doctor, I think he's called, or something. But
yes.
he spent like thousands on a peak parry top or something like that. I was like, whoa, I really cannot do this cosplay as much, but it inspired me, I guess, as well. So yeah, I bought the suit. I did a few videos, and then I've been to Comic Con in it 2, 3 times now, and I was a bit nervous about doing that. To be fair, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm taking this out of my house and stuff like that." But people really enjoyed it. But
Hmm.
you actually get because I wear that quite a lot for my TikToks and stuff. You get recognized more on that and stuff. So it's like it's kind of cool. I finally bought. It's a print version of the 14th Doctor suit from Costaddy. I've never used it before, but it's on its way.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, I bought that. So hopefully that will turn out well, and that's a different cosplay I can go for, I guess.
So you enjoy it because you can kind of celebrate the show, I guess.
I enjoy it because I don't know, I like doing them videos. It's something as a hobby as much as YouTube's a hobby. I think it's more like it's fun and it's just like
It makes you
I
feel like
guess it's act.
enriched, I guess. Like almost like it makes you feel powerful when you put on the outfit, I suppose.
It's like taking on a persona, yeah, as you will.
Yeah.
Like as soon as you put that on, I mean, I literally did I do the 11th Doctor and the Master differently with the outfit, but everything else I just wear with my normal tops and stuff. But with Matt Smith, I'll basically wear my David Tennant trench coat and put a fez on, and then that's instantly the fez instantly represents Matt Smith, and I'm like, yes, woohoo, I can act like this. But then when I do the Master, I turn the coat up inside out, and it does a blue, which is interesting, and I get the laser screwdriver and act like the Master. It's like I think I use different elements just to make it a cheaper budget,
Mm.
but the only thing I've really expensed on is the 2000s with David Tennant suit, and now I've just bought the 14th with the print, which I'm hoping works, but I haven't really. But yeah, that's pretty much it with Comic Con.
Yeah, I'd love to get the 15th or the 14th Doctor outfit. I think that's when I saw that, I was like, yes, please. But there's the 13th Doctor regeneration thing. I think it's a gorgeous outfit as well.
Yeah,
With
I
the with the celery and the scarf and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, be super expensive though, but it's a lovely outfit.
yeah, I've seen obviously you see him about at Comic Con, but I've
Mm.
seen Red Archer live. I think he wore that and he posted some pictures on that. So I think it looks good. I don't know if you can do it on a budget or something like that, but yeah, there is expenses, but there also is budgets like you can work towards. I think 300 is the element I'm aiming at, and there's no more I would probably spend because like shooties is literally 1,000 beyond. It's really expensive. I was like, no, this is out my reach.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I'd wear that. I'd quite like to wear that outfit that Shooty wears. And then I went and looked at the price of every single item that's sort of designer.
his his shoes are the same price as the whole David Tennant suit. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
And I was like,
But yeah.
okay, maybe not the best one to go with, but it's quite an interesting world that I am yet to dive into, but I don't intend to do it because of the money basically and how expensive it will be. Um, but I think first I should probably
Yeah.
go to a Comic Con. To be fair,
Yeah, that's how I started off, to be fair. I went to like 4 or 5 and then all of a sudden decided dressing up recently, only this year, and I've been doing it for like four years, I think. So it's like it's only recently I've done this sort of thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, it does. I guess the more you go into that world and more accepting you are and more stuff like that, the more you see it, it's more you might be open to it, I guess, but it's just you limit yourself, I
Yeah,
guess, to what
I
you
see what you
really
mean.
want.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I think you've kind of got to go with one idea, and at the minute my brain sort of just keeps switching. I keep going, oh, 10, 14, 13. Like, yeah, so it is quite difficult to pin down. But yeah, I need to actually get down there to one. I don't think I would go to one of the small ones like round here. There's a little Comic Con that they do in the summer, Um,
Mm.
and it's just, I think, just like it's mostly just cosplay, and that's it, really. Um,
Yeah.
well, it is all cosplay. It's nothing really else. But I think the best one to go to would probably be one of the bigger ones, which I don't know what would be in
Yeah,
York. Maybe I don't know.
I started I started on in my local city, then I went to the big one. So I've only mainly gone to Liverpool and Wales, and I've gone one next to my city, which Birmingham. I've been to all them. I think Birmingham is the weakest one, but I think London has the best venue, but I feel like Wales has the best guests, sort of thing. And it's a mix between how they both handle the queues and the guests, sort of thing. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But you can't
Yeah,
really.
because you get quite a lot of stories of people saying that they've had bad experiences and they've been either missold or um,
Mm.
treated badly and stuff like that, which is awful.
Yeah, they want that basically the celebrities are what make it, but the people running there, they're hit and miss. Sometimes they're really lovely. So I had a problem with Wales Comic Con recently. I had Nick Frost, um, Kate Stewart, and Gwen Cooper. I had them photos, and I had Nick Frost leaving at 5 o'clock, and I needed his autograph. I already paid for it, and I had someone going, "Nope, you're not getting in." And I had this other woman. Basically, I said, how do I go about a refund?" And she's like, "Follow me," and she basically got me all through these queues, and I just met what I needed to meet in time. So Nick Frost, I just was second to last meeting him before he left. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got that. And I was quite lucky. So this woman who worked there helps, but sometimes there was another one. I was meeting Jodie, I think, and she was pushing us along, and one of my mates there, he said he got pushed. She pushed, and Jodie actually, I think, looked at her funny or something. It was like, "Stop pushing the fans," sort of thing. So they can. It depends who's running it, I guess.
I've heard about things like this before where I think somebody, this may have been Joseph Quinn actually, but somebody pushed into through the fan into him. So yeah, I think it's probably quite common, to be honest.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's very rarely I've had a bad experience with a celebrity though. I think my only one I felt like was a disappointment, and I know I might get hate for this, and everyone's got lovely experiences with, but the only person I didn't have a good experience with was Tom Baker, because he was doing all sorts with other people before me, and then when it come to me, I say it's amazing to meet you, no acknowledgement, and then it just felt like a statue, and I was like, oh, I was like, oh, maybe just my end then. And then I've also had a bad. I felt like it just felt off with Jenna Coleman as well. I had that with, and first time it was she was my celebrity crush. So I was totally freezing and couldn't speak. So the second time I was like, right, you're meeting her. I spoke to her. I just thought, oh, that was very quick sort of thing. So they're the only two I've really had.
I'm pretty sure that at one Comic Con, Jenna Coleman had a bit of an issue where there's a bit of a ruckus with a fan where he kind of was a bit was like hugging her or something like that, and she didn't like that, and then I think it really put her off doing the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
I don't. It just depends. Yeah,
yeah, I wouldn't want to be the nuisance that sort of ruins it, I guess. So I mean, I'm not going to like run up to them and hug them, but you don't want to be the person that kind of upsets Tom Baker, because he's Tom Baker. And
yeah,
it would kind of ruin watching any Fourth Doctor, because then as you watch it, you go, "Oh yeah, he was rude to me."
yeah. It's. I guess it's like everyone has their bad day, and I guess I was watching. I like to do before I go to conventions to get me hyped and excited. I guess like what you do with a Doctor Who episode, but I get the Geeks handbag, I get the host productions, and a few others, and I watch their Comic Con videos,
Oh
and
yeah,
it gets me hyped for that. And I always rewatch the same one, sort of, to be fair. So I guess I can remember this a lot more. As I remember Host Productions talking to Bernard Cribbins and him having a headache, and because of the environment and how loud it was, and he was in the center of the room and stuff. It's like bless him sort of scenario, but it's also like he might have a less best interaction with his fans just because um he's his day, you know. I could have met Tom Baker on his worst day, and maybe that's the experience. So I try not hold that against him or anything like that. I just go, it was just a photo. Mate, I'll try and hopefully meet him again one time, and I might meet him on a better day. You know, that's just how I'm looking at it, sort of thing. But it's just
Yeah.
like,
It's
yeah,
not a personal
I
thing,
have
is it really?
no, like I haven't had a real celebrity be rude to me. It's just like I felt like that was a bad experience, but I felt like I haven't had one actually really bad, so I'm quite lucky, I guess. I haven't had a celebrity be rude to me. So yeah.
And so we're very, very close to the end now. My final question to you, this is the final question, is in the future, are there any big projects coming up or any videos that you'd like to share about? Remember, though,
Oh
it's probably worth pointing out this video is not going out like immediately. So just watch out for
well,
videos that may already
I'm
be out.
going. Yeah, well, I'm going to be a bit give you an exclusive, I guess. So
Oh yeah.
I haven't been filming hardly any videos last year or this year, yet my videos have been uploading. And
Hmm.
that is because during lockdown, I filmed an absolute bomber load of videos in 2020 to 2021, and they've just been put on schedule. So I've actually been quite lazy last year and this year, and
I knew
videos
you
have been
scheduled
uploaded.
them. Yeah. I could tell
Yeah.
you
So
scheduled them, but yeah.
I'm running out of Go Doctor Who videos by the end of May, May time. But I've got, I guess this is the exclusive part. I've only told William Who and my friends, but basically, I'm planning on rechanging my channel, just like my TikTok, to the Geeks Assemble. And basically, I'm going to be reviewing Doctor Who, but I'm going to do Marvel, DC, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Rick and Morty, doing all them. I've been filming loads in advance for that. But my only problem is I spent quite a lot of money on this last video. I want Go Doctor Who to go out with a bang. I'm not going to tell you what's in it, surprises, and there is a few Doctor Who actors in it, and I got um, Ace Creeper to edit the video. I paid for that and stuff, so it's really
Ah, I'm interested.
it's like a last hurrah sort of thing for Go Doctor Who. I want it to go on a highlight,
Yeah.
and I filmed all this ages ago, and my only problem is I didn't know Russell was coming in the 60th, but I'm still leaving as such and changing the channel, but it's just basically I'm that last video is depending on when the 60th and how far series 14 is. Because this channel is Go Doctor Who, it's about Doctor Who, but I also want to do other things and not
Hmm.
just be stuck in a box. So the plan is to release that video after series 14. Hopefully, it's close to the 60th, to then restart my new channel, talk about loads of new things. And then when Doctor Who comes back around, it will feel like ages since I've talked about it to get back to it again. So I don't want it to be, all right, guys, I'm stopping Doctor Who videos. And then a week later, series 14 comes back and I review it. So it's
Hmm.
really depending when my channel rechanges as such. It's regenerating, I guess, into
Rebranding. Yes.
more. Yes,
Yes.
but that
That's interesting.
won't be till 2024. So that is far away, but it is planned. It's been filmed, my final. So it's just tweaking when best to release it. And there is still loads of content to come as Go Doctor Who and Comic Cons and stuff because we've got a whole year of it. And I will be reviewing the 60th as Go Doctor Who, but it's just depending when to go out on that high note, I guess, to
Yeah.
change it to something new.
You're just planning when is the right time to go multi fandom, I suppose.
Yes,
Okay.
but I
Uh,
won't leave it.
no. I mean, you're going to continue to do Doctor Who videos, and of course, you can check out your TikTok, which will be linked in the description with your YouTube as well, where you can find all of the content that you make. I find your autographs and your Comic Con visits quite interesting, I have to say.
Oh, thank you.
That kind of stuff I find quite fascinating, most because I'm slightly jealous of it. But yeah, it's a very interesting world and that kind of stuff. So, I have to thank you, of course, for coming on. I appreciate you turning out this afternoon to film with me. Uh, It's been an absolute pleasure having you on and to get to ask you a whole bunch of questions.
Ah, no worries. I've been quite nervous to be fair. Like whenever there's a new person I'm doing video with, so I get quite nervous, but I found it quite enjoyable. So
Oh,
it
yeah,
was an honor to be on. So thank you.
yeah. I mean, you're not the only one. I get slightly nervous just before them. Um, I wasn't nervous massively for this one, I have to say. But yeah, a few times I've been quite scared to do them. I think I've done quite a few of them now that they don't bother me as much. Uh,
Yeah.
but But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you give it a like, subscribe if you're new. If you're listening to this on any streaming platforms, please subscribe for new episodes on the 5th of each month. If you want to check out the platforms that the show is streamed on, you can find the link tree down in the description below, which has a whole range of platforms. But sadly, Will's not here to try and list them all this time. But that's all I have to say. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to Go Doctor Who for joining us today. And we shall see you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.